Today I want to talk about, oh, I'm sorry, Blak. I'm sorry, babe. We've talked about the hero's journey over the past couple of episodes and understanding what type of tools we can use, how they can be applied, how we're moving along this journey we call life, right? And so sometimes things can get a little heavy, and as we continue to move and grow and learn, we're taking on and releasing, right? And taking on and releasing. And so we also need time to rest, recharge, and rejuvenate, to idle ourselves, and allow us to just be patient in the moment. I noticed for me that I began my journey, if you will, of understanding peace and relaxation and patience and just stillness when I began to overwhelm and overburden myself with the constant evolution, right? And the idea that, okay, I always have to grow, I always have to change, right? And it's like, we are always who we are, right? We're just moving along our journey, but we're not morphing into a completely different being. We're just learning all of the different extensions of ourselves. And so, at least for me. And so I was overwhelmed with the burden of feeling like there was always decisions to make. There were always challenges that I had to learn from and things that I had to grow through, and they became what I focused all of my energy on. So the positivity started to slip away of like, okay, well, outside of, what I'm learning about and growing from, like just happy moments and moments of stillness and peace and doing things that I enjoy and not having to, kind of psychoanalyze everything. And so, yeah, just able to, a couple moments to breathe. And this might be a little bit touchy. I will say, I definitely, and because I talk about some heavy topics, there are gonna be trigger warnings, right? But so today, I wanted to touch on the topic of suicide, right? And because it's not even just on this, feeling like you're overwhelmed with like, oh, spiritual path and change and, but just everyday life and just aspects of living, right, that can become a lot and overwhelming and burdensome. And sometimes we ask ourselves, who can carry me? When I think about that, obviously that leads us to spirit, right? And we think about things like religion and our spiritual belief systems and God, right? And, those people or energies who help us move through some of the hard times in life, our family, friends, And so for me, I am spiritual. I would say I really am not a big, super huge fan of over labeling everything. But I do believe in, our spiritual essence. I believe we're spiritual beings having a human experience, and therefore spirit exists, aspects of spirit exist, probably in ways that we could never potentially quantify or begin to understand. But I do believe that I have guides. I do believe, that I have connection with my ancestral energy. And so for me, I recognize that that energy is present and that I can call on that energy when I need to, or if I need some support, or I have questions that I don't feel like I can answer alone. And so that support system is there in spirit and also in my family and friends and the people that I choose to share myself with and who shared themselves with me, and we pour into each other, right? Like we were talking about in the last episode when it comes to releasing baggage and people, places, and things that do not serve you. And so my friends, my family, we pour into each other, we grow with each other. And so that also is a support system for me. So I think that when you begin to talk about spirit, right, and you recognize the energies that are around us, whatever label you choose to put on it, right, because we are a house of independent coexistence. So, recognizing that energy is there and that energy is a support system. But when it comes down to, and you are a lineage of that. You come from that spirit, you come from that spiritual energy, right? And which is why we have connection to those energies around us. But I think that the biggest thing out of everything, when I think about this and when you think about the load being too heavy, is that you carry you. If you look at your feet and you want your feet to move, or your finger, or your head, or your eyes, you have to move them, right? And that's just obviously speaking on a physical level, but in general, as a spiritual being, right, having a human experience, you are the one that possesses the willpower to move you in whatever way you feel you need to be moved. So remembering that, we do have support systems, we do have people in place and things in place that allow us to replenish our energy and to help us heal. But that at the end of the day, the bottom line, right, it all comes down to you and what you choose to do and who you choose to be and where you want to go. Right? So you moving forward has to be your choice, and no one else can make that choice for you, right? So and with my personal experience as well, and so I know, again, this is a touchy, I would say, topic, and again, I will take the liberty of placing trigger warnings, but it is something that I thought about, and I never quite seriously ever believed that I would have the galls to I won't say that, but like to even attempt to take my life, because I would even be too scared of that. And I hope this doesn't, I laugh sometimes in moments of uncomfortability, but that's true though. You know what I'm saying? Like for me, like I never ever truly believed that I could, and so, but the thought crossed my mind of, whether I would be missed, if it would really even matter, right, if I wasn't necessarily here. And I just say that because I do always speak from experience. And I also always remind, or would like to remind everyone, that this is not, my attempt to put a life philosophy on you, or to, make you believe in anything that I believe, but this is just my personal experience and the lessons that I have learned from them. Yes. So, but for me, that was kind of my experience, and as things began to get a little overwhelming, those thoughts did pass through. And so it made me wonder, does everyone wonder who can carry this, who can carry me? And that's why, we talked in the other episode previously about baggage and releasing, right? The art of letting go is very, very important when it comes to how we move forward in life and not judging ourselves, right? And so letting go of those emotions that kind of restrict us from growth, and making sure that we remember, right, from our Who Am I episode, that we are all children. We are all learning. We are all growing. And this experience is completely different for everybody. And so remembering those things and making sure that we take responsibility and value in our ability to create who we are. despite what happens around us, that we choose to be who we choose to be. And so for me personally, also with my support system, I'm definitely very in tune, in touch with spirit. And so what those thoughts were to me were teaching me that, you know, you have to have strength, right? And have the confidence that you can carry you. You can be here, you can be present, and you can move forward. And so for me, my spiritual connection, my ancestors are very blunt. Like, you know, it's just kind of like you take it or leave it. Like, this is the advice. This is, you know, the path that we feel like you're on. Is this what you want to be on? Is where you're going? And, you know, this is, you know, kind of the sacrifice or where you're at, what you need to do. And so I take it and run with it, or I take it and value it and show gratitude, and I might leave it sometimes depending on the situation. And sometimes that's in my benefit, and sometimes it's like the kid that got to touch the hot stove in order to figure out that it's hot for real. So you know, and just living through those experiences and valuing my ability to have those and to take the necessary knowledge and tools from them and apply them to my current, present, and future. And reassuring yourself as well, I would say, is very important. So letting you know that you accept and understand you, and that you're not judging self. Because healing childhood trauma is definitely a very large part of our healing process, because so many different things can get instilled and ingrained there, and then we have to unpack all of that and see, you know, where those roots lie in order for us to, you know, pull them up and to plant new seeds. When it comes to healing childhood trauma, you want to make sure that you're affirming for yourself, like, yes, it is okay for you to do this, or for you to move through these experiences and to learn about yourself, and, you know, to grow and live. And that's something that I constantly, you know, remind myself of as well, that it's okay to move along a path that I am meant to be down, and it's okay to learn all of the lessons that are placed in front of me. My reflections and takeaways are, the seeds are most important, right? The roots of the issues, and getting to the bottom of, okay, what is this really, and how can I, you know, move forward from this? Because sometimes a lot of our surface level mannerisms, behaviors, or problems, challenges to grow, are based in things that are rooted much deeper, that, you know, once you pull out that root, you don't have to go down and snip every leaf off the plant, right, or the tree. You can just pull it up and repurpose it, turn that into something else, transmute it, right? Making sure that we're looking for the seeds and the roots, and yeah, pulling them bad boys up. And remembering that, people always say this, but it's true, right? That rotten apples ruin the bunch. So again, with like the baggage, right, that we talked about before, and making sure that you're cultivating a space that is most beneficial for your growth. And that the process doesn't happen overnight. And, you know, you don't wake up one day and you just learn everything and everything's perfect. You know, it's a continuous process, and we have to learn and take value in that, and have gratitude, right, for the energy that the earth and that our, you know, friends and family and surrounding energy even take to put into us and to pour into us, and to you know, appreciate that exchange and those experiences. I also think that a kind of takeaway for me, especially with, you know, all these things that I touch on, that spirit sometimes seems to scare people. And I think that that's a very interesting concept, because, you know, I think a lot of us recognize that we are spiritual beings and having a human experience, right? And even if you are, no matter what your religion is, right? They're all based in spirit and, you know, a God Almighty or what have you. And when people begin to really encounter spirit in the 3D, it seems to be overwhelming. And of course, that makes sense, right? You know, it's not something that we can fully conceptualize and wrap our minds around and analyze and find a B, right? From point A to point B. It's not always so solid. But spirit and the energies of the earth, and you know, we come from the earth, right? And so the energies and the ways that we're connected to the world around us are there for our benefit, right? And our ability to connect and to wield these energies and to wield our emotions are to help us guide ourselves through this experience, and so that we can learn the lessons we need to learn and create our hero's journey, right? So I challenge you guys to learn more about spirit and the different ways that spirit can be present, and not just the stereotypical, you know, ooh, there's a ghost, but like, you know, living things and living organisms, right? They all have energy. And so when we really start to look at the simplicity of that and the fact that there's energy all around us, we're able to conceptualize a little bit more the gravity that spirit actually has. So I definitely hope you guys took something away from this episode and found something valuable. If so, definitely hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and definitely turn on your notifications so whenever we are back with another episode, you can be right there with us. And also check out our website, www.dearblackpeoplepodcast.com, where you can find our video replays as well as our audio and special letters and written works by yours truly.